Good morning. Welcome to day 40 of the 100 Day Project. This is day 39, 38, and 37. It's a three-part. She was a lot of fun to make. One thing I wanted to bring to your attention, if you followed along with her, is after I put the antiquing on and wiped it off, I should have waited for it to dry before I added my gloss on top because it's brought out some more of the color than I really wanted on the canvas. So I'm probably going to go through and repaint the canvas the best I can, considering I've got a lot of little crevices to go around, and push back that color a little bit. So now I'll tell you about what we're going to do today. The other day I posted a poll about the accordion books, the ones in the tin that I was working on, and I asked, did you want to see more of the accordion book page preparation for the accordion book that I already have that's pre-made? And it was an overwhelming yes. So we will be doing that. But there was a comment on that poll that led me to believe that the person thought I was talking about making an accordion book, and they said they were so happy that I had asked if they wanted that because they had seen videos where the book was made, but it was really fast or maybe difficult to follow. I don't remember the exact comment, but I do recall that the comment led me to believe that they were thinking I was going to make an accordion book. So I thought, well, I'm going to make an accordion book today just so that I can show you how to make one, so that if you follow along the next time I do pages, which we will be doing, you know how to make your book if you don't have a pre-made book like I already have. Now, the kicker here is I've never made an accordion book. So we're going to learn together. I did prepare a little bit in advance though. I went and got some paper and I played around to see how you would make an accordion book. It's just a long sheet of paper together, but if you don't have long paper, you have to attach them. So I pulled out some paper that I felt would be a good weight for an accordion book, and I'll show you that in a second. And I started playing around. So I've got part of a book done. So I'm going to show you what I did, how I did it. There is one thing to keep in mind. I have never made one, so my book probably will not be the perfect squared off book. The other thing is, if you want your book to be a different size, you will have to accommodate by measuring for all this. I didn't do a lot of measuring. I just took a sheet of paper and practiced with that paper. You might want to use a longer sheet of paper, or you might want to use a shorter piece of paper. But if you want your pages to be more square, you will need to measure and account for that. I'm not covering that in today's video. I'm just covering how to make the book. And then if you want to change your sizes, just go ahead and just do your measurements and measure out and figure out how big you want your book. Okay, so what I have here to work with is a self-healing mat and an X-Acto knife and some glue, a ruler, the paper, and some chipboard. I'll show you the chipboard and the paper. I also have a sheet of paper here that I'm going to use for my cover. I've had this forever and I don't like it, but I know I can make it into something. I've never come across this and thought I want to use this until today. I thought this would make a great cover, and then I can decorate on top of it and disappear a lot of this. All this is labels. Labels I peeled off of bottles and things years ago, like 2015, and I just glued them on some deli paper. That's what I'm going to use for my book cover. So get yourself a piece of painty paper that you've made, or maybe a piece of scrapbook paper that you want to use, something pretty. This will be pretty eventually. It's just not so pretty right now. I have a glue book here also where I like to open my pages and glue whatever I'm going to glue so that the glue gets on the book and then I can just close the book and not worry about glue getting on my table. The chipboard I used, I had a piece of scrap in my bin, and it's this chipboard, and it's one of two brands. I'm not sure which. It's either Colorbach. It doesn't say a weight of the paper. It's 12 by 12, but it's a heavy duty chipboard. And then this one here is by the Paper Studio. It's like a cardstock, but on steroids. You could use a piece of cardboard though from a box. You could just tear a box apart, use the lids or something for your stuff. And the paper I'm using is this drawing paper. It is a Strathmore 11 by 14 sheet, and it's 70 pounds. It's a really nice weight and it's a good size. I didn't have to do any cutting because I didn't cut on the paper. My book turned out this shape. Now if I wanted more squared, like I said, I would have to fold it different and cut and measure and make sure that I got the size that I wanted. I'm going to use the cover of this drawing pad so that you have something to look at that's colored so that you see this better instead of on a white mat here. Even though it's got paint on it, it's very hard to see white on white. Okay, so this is a sheet of paper I tore out of here, like I said, 11 by 14. I wanted to fold this in half so that I could have two strips of paper, or you could cut so that your paper is more squared off. Instead of half, which would make your paper about 5.5 inches, you could make it 8 inches or whatever. So your book would be that tall if you cut this sheet off and then make a smaller accordion book out of that strip that's up top here. So you could do that, but I'm just gonna leave it just like it is and just fold it in half, and we're gonna make our book according to the size that it makes when we fold the paper in half. Try to get your edges as even as possible. Okay, my edges are as close together as I can get them. So all I did was just go back and forth over my fold, and I turned it back over on itself again. And this is where you could take a large cutting mat and a rotary cutter or your X-Acto knife, and you could cut your paper. Just cut it down the center there with a ruler. But I just cut mine in half by tearing it like this. Okay, so now I have 2 strips of paper. And these strips are the size of my book, as you can see. Then what I did, I folded the paper in half. Brought the edges as close together as I could, and then I creased down my fold. And you could use a bone folder if you want to get them really creased, or the end of your scissors, or just your fingers. And then I took the page that's on the open side, and I just folded this piece back on top of itself toward the fold. So you've got one sheet of paper here, fold it, and then take your open side and fold it back on top of itself. Line your sides up and give yourself a crease. So now you have this piece here. You want to flip your paper over, take this open edge here and fold it back on itself again toward the fold line. This is what's making the accordion. So now, when you take your 2 end pieces, and you open, you've got an accordion started. Makes like a W there, or an M, however you look at it. Okay, let's put this aside. Let's do the same thing to this sheet. Okay, got our fold. Take the open side, fold the top sheet back on top of itself, and line up your papers the best you can. And turn your paper over. Take this piece here and fold it back on top of itself again. Okay, now we have 2 sheets that are like this. All right, then, to make your sheet longer so that you can make 1 strip of accordion the way this is, these are 2 sheets put together. You want to tuck one sheet inside the other. Just tucked it in to each other like that. So my book would be like this. And what I want to do is glue these 2 pages together. So if you need to, just so that you don't lose track of what you're doing, hold these together, then mark this one here and mark the one on the other side of it. So now you know you want to glue your 2 little X's together. That's where my little glue book is going to come in. And I'm going to use just a glue stick, just glue up to the fold line. And you find your other little X piece. And here again, you slip it into each other like this. Okay, then you want to line up your pages the best you can. Stick that in there on the fold. Get your pages lined up the best you can. And then stick them down. Press down on the glue. Let me move my glue book because it's sticky now. Okay, so now you have a long sheet that's already got the little folds. So you want to just put them back together. And there's your little accordion book. Now, I have this other one that I've already made, and I want to stick those together. So now I got 2 long pieces here. So now on this one, I can't tuck my piece in to the other piece like I did without losing 2 sheets because of the fold, the way the fold goes. So now I have to glue back to back. Okay? you want to make sure that each time you do your accordion, each time you attach your page, that you see how the page goes, zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. And when you come to a point where you cannot tuck anymore without losing an extra page, I don't want to tuck that, then you want to glue back to back. Is there a way around that? I don't know. This is my first book. I'm winging it here and learning as we go. So now I want to glue these two pages together so that my book can continue going. So I want to make an X here and an X here. So I know these are the two pages that are going to go glued together. And just put lots of glue up to the fold. Okay, and then I take my other X page and I'm going to stick that down on top at the fold. Line up my pages, get them nice and snug together. And fold your accordion book again. So now, when we open our accordion book, we have a long accordion book. So that worked. Lucky me, right? I hope that helped you guys. Since I've never made an accordion book, I've never made a cover for an accordion book, but we're going to give that a go too. Now, if you want your accordion book really long, keep doing that same process over and over until you get your pages done. I had these two pieces of chipboard in my box already, so I pulled them out and I could tell that one of these would suit for the cover really well. So that's the perfect size. This one is bigger, so this needs to be cut off to match. So what you would do is just measure your accordion book, see how long it is, but you already know that it's 5.5 inches because you took a 11-inch paper and cut it in half. So you got 5.5 inches. So you want your board covers to be a little bit bigger. So this is about 5 3/4 inches. So there's just a little bit on the edge at the ends and a little bit on the sides. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want something to cover. And so I'm going to make this one the same size. Since I've already got a pattern, I'll just go ahead and mark this and cut it. And then I'll just take my knife and cut off the excess there. And the edges are pretty close. A little bit of overhang. So then, I've got my piece of paper here that I'm going to use for my covers. I'm just going to lay this chipboard on my piece of paper. If this is your scrapbook paper, you want to turn it over so that the right side is facing down. And just put your board down here, leaving a little excess on the sides. I've got about a 1/2 inch excess there. And I'll just mark it here so I know where to cut. And then I'm going to cut my piece of paper out. So that's one cover. The other one will be the same size, so I'll just cut out another one. I'm just glad to be using this paper. So now you take your paper, put it face down again, take your board, put the glue down, get the edges really good, the corners, and I'm going to lay it down, press it down. Now this, I would normally bring in the corners if I was covering a book page. I guess I could do it this way on this one. I'll just trim those off. I'm going to trim off my corners. Barely there. Then I'm going to take these and make a fold so that I can fold in on my book easier. A little bit is going to show here. It shouldn't because I should have cut it better, but I didn't. Okay, and let's fold that over. These are labels, so they're not folding as easy as a pure piece of paper would. I'm going to get some clips and clip this down so this adheres and holds. This is having a hard time because of the type paper I used, but I think regular scrapbook paper would not have a problem at all. Okay, I've got that one over there clipped, so let's do this one here. The other cover, I trimmed off my corners, and that caused a problem because it left some chipboard exposed. But if you want to avoid that, don't trim your edges, just fold them in like this and then fold it down like this, and then you will have nothing exposed. So I'll do that this way on this one so that you can see the difference. Okay, so I've got my little corners bent down and bent over, and we're going to put those down first this time and not cut them off like we did on this one. So let's take off the little clips because we're going to need them. The reason my glue book is upside down is because I have worked with it the other way. So all these pages are sticky. So I'm working the other way now because the other side I never use. Okay, so stick this side down. Stick this side down. And this side has that label on it, so it doesn't want to stay. So put a clip. This one doesn't have label on it, it's just paper. It's working much better. All right, so then I'm just gonna start doing my edges. The clips they're making it look harder than it is. It's just my paper, that's all. Okay, I'm going to give this a second to adhere, and then we will attach our book covers to our book. Okay, while this one is continuing to dry, we'll just go ahead with this piece. This is the one that we did first. I'll make that the bottom. I'm just going to take my accordion book. I'm just going to open my book a little bit and fold it out so I don't put glue everywhere, and put it on this page right here. And mark it with an X if you feel like you'll lose track of which page you're supposed to do. And then I'm just going to kind of center it to the best of my abilities. Okay, so we've got the back on, and now we need our front on. And the front's going to go on the top page. All right, now we have our book pages covered with covers. So when you open your book, you either open it this way or you can open it this way, however you want to work in it. But flip your pages and then you just flip and then keep going. Oh, this is kind of cool. Okay, and then I would decorate the cover and the back because I don't like the look of this. And then I would just take a ribbon during my decorating and I would adhere it to the back. Then I'd have a way to tie it so that it wouldn't fall apart whenever I'm not using it. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and decorate this a little bit. So let me get some papers and we'll just do a little bit on the front. Okay, I changed my mind again. I was thinking put some papers down here, but I thought, well, why don't we just do what we did the other day, which is use some stencils and maybe our little leaf here. And I'm just gonna take my brush. It's dry, it's not wet or anything. And I'm just gonna put some paint down here. Let's take a stencil, and the stencils I've got here, one is Hero Arts, and this one is called Large Lotus Pattern. This one's called Lovely Floral, and it's a plaid folk art, and then this one, Delta Creative Accents, and it's 2 butterflies. So I've got a makeup sponge here and some paint. And let's start with this stencil here. Let's use the yellow ochre. This is Artist Loft, this is aqua green, and this is bronze. I'm just gonna put a little bit on my sponge here. And I'm taking this paper plate and I'm smashing it down so it spreads out over my sponge. If you've got any excess paint, put it on a piece of paper, finish using up your paint. And then I'm going to switch stencils. I kind of want my book, I don't know which direction I want my book. I think I'll decorate it this way. Oh, isn't that pretty? Ooh, look at the blue and the yellow and the bronze. So much better than that, isn't it? So now I want to do some of this leaf work. Okay, I am loving that. I think that is just really pretty. I don't know if the ribbon I picked out to tie it will work. It probably will. I think it will. So I think what I want to do is let this dry, and then I might put a word on here, but I'm going to do that to the back side because this just sucks. When you compare it to this. That's just pretty. I like that. I changed my mind on a word. I don't want a word. I want to leave this as lovely as it is. I am going to take my little pencil though. I'm just going to go around the butterfly a little bit. And I think it's dry enough to turn it over and do the other side. Okay, I did a little scribbling on the back with my pencil. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to do the same thing on the front, just a little bit. And that finishes it off for me. Open this up so you can see the covers together. There. Isn't that pretty? Ah, that just makes me so much happier than what was there. That's it. Let's put a little bow on here. Let's see what this looks like on there. Or maybe we could go this direction. You know, I can barely tie a little bow. I don't know. I really want it to go this way though. And I really think I want to change bows. Yeah, I found a piece that I like better. This is a piece of muslin that I tore off of a bigger piece of muslin and I just dyed it. There we go. Okay, I hope this helps somebody. This is my very first time making an accordion book. So I wasn't really trying to teach you how to make one other than show you what I was doing to learn myself how to make one. So I hope that that helped. I think it was April. Hello, April. I hope this helped you. I will see you tomorrow for day 41. Have a great whatever it is. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.